This is Just Woken Up, Jammy's voice here. I've gotten up to edit this video, and all of my Paper Beast footage that I recorded of me playing through the game has been corrupted, which actually kind of makes me feel very gutted because I've had some really great experiences with this one. But we're going to do the review as normal. It just won't be in the same format where I do some commentary and then it transfers to gameplay and then back to commentary. It's all just going to be commentary for this one. And for footage, I'm just going to have to play some footage by like IGN or something in the background. So I'll leave a link in the description to wherever I got that from as credit, but it won't be my footage, which sucks. But let's get on with the review anyway, because this game deserves a video on it. So let's go. Paper Beast is the first game that I genuinely don't know how to describe that I've covered on the channel, because it's some parts an adventure game, it's some parts a puzzle game, it's some parts a comedy, and in some parts it's really dour and sad. And I had absolutely no idea what to expect going into it. I thought this was going to be a third-person adventure where I'd kind of control a character, one of the main paper beasts that inhabit the game, travel around the world, fix some problems, and that would be the end of that. Instead, I got a first-person adventure where I have to take a journey through a very diverse map that looks absolutely incredible, solving problems, saving animals' lives, and so much more. It's kind of ridiculous the little expectation I had for this game that was then proportionally blown away by how great the fundamentals of Paper Beast are, and that really shouldn't surprise me because the ratings that this game has in its previous version and in its flat version are very, very high, and that's for a reason. There's some real ingenuity behind this game, and at several points I was sitting there just thinking, wow, when I saw some of the sights that the game has to offer, and some of the mechanics and some of the visuals that it pushes towards you. It's really genius with how it uses certain elements, and that's something I really didn't expect. But to put this all into perspective, let's start a little bit further back at the beginning. Paper Beast is around about a 3-hour game where you traverse through the land that I mentioned before, and essentially solve a series of puzzles that then lead to the end of the game. The game is interlinked with themes of a simulation, themes of nature, themes of death, themes of suffering, and also themes of hope. An absolute beauty strewn within it. This is the enhanced edition, so there was a version of this game on PSVR2. I never played it because, to be honest, it never really caught my eye, but when offered to play this game and review it, I couldn't really pass it up because the game visually looks pretty amazing, and I've actually heard some good things in the comments from my September monthly games video about this one, and I'm very glad I listened to those because this game is genuinely great. Most of the problems that you come across in Paper Beast can be solved with your gravity gun-like device that's on your right hand, which you can use to pick up objects and move them about. And this is a very satisfying game mechanic, and it's also what you use to solve every single problem and puzzle you come across throughout your playthrough. However, the puzzles come in all shapes and sizes. Sometimes you have to deform a landscape to allow some animals to pass, sometimes you have to get water to some of these animals, sometimes you have to use this gravity gun-like device to influence the direction that a hot air balloon travels that you're sitting inside, but most of the time you're helping out the wildlife around the game. And on the topic of that wildlife, you probably noticed that they're all made of paper. They're all like origami creatures, and the game uses that to its advantage, creating some really abstract visuals and actually pulling off some visual jokes and gags with these things on your screen. Honestly, I was very scared that this was just going to be an aesthetic choice, but it really fits in with the story that Paper Beast is trying to tell. And if you've heard of the game before or seen it covered when it first came out on the flat and on PSVR1 and on Steam, I'm sure you've heard all this before, but I was genuinely really surprised and very happy with the way that this was incorporated into both gameplay and the story. One of the things that I wasn't so happy with though was the resolution at first, because up close objects look pretty good, and actually the scale of everything that's presented to you in the game is absolutely stunning, and you sit there and you can really take it all in, and the game visually with the OLED panel of the PSVR2 looks great. However, the resolution, especially at middling to long distance objects and areas, does suffer a little bit, and I think that's due to the systems that the game has in place that negatively impact its performance. For example, you get access to a water feature at one point, and you can use various objects around the map to deform the ground and let the water run through it. So essentially you can do dynamic tessellation, I believe it's called, around most of the areas in the game. Everything can be deformed, can be shaped, and the physics system that this game operates on is genuinely really impressive. I don't know how this thing was running on a PSVR1 and a PS4, because
It's really, really good stuff. And I believe that's probably why the resolution looks a little bit poor. It's nothing too bad at all in my opinion, and I easily got used to it. But if you definitely jump between a game like, Horizon Call the Mountain, Resident Evil Village, or, Red Matter 2, you definitely notice the decrease in visual quality coming over to Paper Beast. That being said, I can't really say that it negatively impacted my experience of the game, because it really didn't. It was still a very impactful visual experience, and it was still a load of fun. So if you're not dragged down by middling visuals, you'll probably be fine with this one. I do also want to talk about the diversity of the puzzles as well, because some of this stuff is really ingenious, to be honest, and you feel like a big brain after solving some of these. It also helps that the puzzles don't really get boring, because you know that you're going to be rewarded with something amazing looking afterwards. Every time you solve a puzzle, you're presented with a new area or a new challenge or a new piece of scenery that looks absolutely incredible. And it really pushes you onwards to not only experience the next part of the story and the next area, but also to uncover the secrets that this world has to offer. But I think the most surprising thing out of all of these for me was the sense of scale that the game gives off. From the really tall creatures that you're presented with, to the towering mountains, to being put in a hot air balloon and flying across the landscape, there's some real spectacle here, and I did not expect that whatsoever. It's really blockbuster spectacle, and it's so impactful with great audio design. And of course, because it's in real scale in VR, it's absolutely huge, and I loved every single second of when the game presented something megalophobic to me. But anyway, there's my impressions of Paper Beast. I had no expectations for this one going in, absolutely none at all, and even if I did, it probably would have smashed through them, because despite some poor resolution here and there, the game genuinely blew me away with how ingenious its mechanics are, how endearing its story is. Its world design is really believable, but strangely abstract, and I just enjoyed every second of this one, to be honest. If you're not a puzzle fan, you might not, but I'd recommend looking into this one and looking at some more raw gameplay, because it's been out for a while, so there's a lot of raw gameplay around, to see if it's worth picking up. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you all in the next video.